here to give you your energetic update. Today is December 1st, 2024, and we are going to give you what we've been noticing, and then you can see how it fits with what you've been noticing lately in your environment. What I've been noticing, Lynn, is people talking about UAPs lately. Have you been hearing anything about that?
I don't know what UAPs are. What is that?
Well, a UAP was the old definition of UFO. So it's called unidentified anomalous phenomena is the term. So basically talking about life from other places. And the interesting thing is that they actually had a congressional hearing on November 13th about that topic, where they had whistleblowers from the military in talking about what they're doing with these UAPs. So they were talking about anything from life forms that are on the planet to these vehicles that might even be organic in nature, meaning that the actual, let's say, spaceship is more like an intelligence. It's not a regular material like we would have. That would be what we'd consider anyway an inanimate object. It would be something that actually had an intelligence of its own, and how people are coming into contact with them and even getting some changes to their biology is what the congresswoman that talked about that heard. But the whistleblowers didn't give us a whole lot of input, but we could get some ideas. So that's where it started for me.
Okay, so this is a congressional hearing.
Yes.
And this is where you heard about it. So is there a video or anything?
Yes, so we can attach that to this one if anybody wants to look at it. There's a lot of things that are like, we don't know, we can't say, that type of thing, but it gives you an idea of what's going on. So they want more transparency. But then, after that, a friend of mine who's not normally talking about these kinds of things, she came over yesterday and she's looking at a book called UFO of God. And there's a man that had a lot of experiences. Boy, no, I can't remember his name. I'll find the book and I'll let you know what it is, and we can attach that too. I haven't read it, but she's reading it and she's all excited about all his experiences and how he's been talking to military personnel, because he's actually had a lot of people that have seen the same thing as him. But the interesting news is that it used to be top secret. I mean, I've known about this for years and years, but they couldn't talk about it. People would actually get threatened talking about it because it was considered top secret security things. And then the congresswoman, I think it was Congresswoman May, said, well, we need to know about this. We're paying trillions of dollars towards this program.
Yeah,
so
makes sense.
But the thing that's interesting about it is we've been talking about for years about there being advanced beings that are out there that are, you could say coexisting with us. They may be in another dimension. We talked about timelines last time in our our last week's update. And what do you think about that, about these advanced beings? We've talked about that a lot in the past, and I.
Yep, these advanced beings can be aspects of ourselves, from other dimensions, other realms, other timelines. These advanced beings can just be other beings who are vibrating at a different frequency, a higher frequency than us, who are also from other timelines, dimensions, and universes.
Yeah. It's a mouthful, right?
Yeah. And you can actually tune in or tap into these more advanced aspects of yourself or these other beings and ask for their help when you need extra help, depending on whatever it is you're going through. So
yes, and I know you probably noticed it when you're working with people as well, with your private sessions, but I've been noticing for years that people will be in touch with, let's say, an advanced spirit guide, like they'll feel the presence of it. They might feel like energy coming into them that feels very strong, and they feel a presence. And I've been feeling that too for a number of years, but it seems to be getting more that way where people are noticing it. And kind of what we've determined is that a lot of our spirit guides are our own self, us in another reality, since with the gravitational fields of the earth and the sun keep us as humans in time and space. But when you take that away, there is no time and space. So really, maybe our future selves are our spirit guides, right? What do you think about that?
I mean, I've had some experiences with my future self, which helped me kind of make decisions in the present moment about what to do that would be best for me and my future, or the future that I'm creating or have already created. So that's kind of been my experience, personal experience with that.
Yeah, that's a really good one.
Yeah.
Yes, and I do think we're co-creating. So let's say if you have an experience with your future self, this future self is based on what your reality is if you continue on the same exact path you're on now. But let's say you decide to make a decision that's a little different, that could change your whole reality because we're co-creating, and then all of a sudden your future self might be different. Or maybe there are all these probabilities, like maybe let's say 5 possible timelines that you could choose, and they perhaps all get you to the same point, but they might be just different in the way they take you there.
Like the journey is a little different, but I guess the ending turns out to be the same.
It can be. I suppose our journey is bringing us into higher consciousness. Perhaps that's the main point, meaning that I think ultimately we want to recognize that we are divine beings having a human experience, that these experiences are not who we are. It's easy to identify with all the problems in our environment and think we are a problem, or that whatever somebody said or did makes us a bad person. I mean, nobody's perfect. We can't be because we're human, but...
You're perfect.
Oh, thank you. So are you, Lynn.
I really mean it, though.
Well, you and I get along great. There's no doubt about that. I call her daughter Lynn.
Yeah,
so.
This is my mama Marie.
so that tells you about us.
Yeah.
We're going to think that about each other. But basically, I think we are, being guided by these future selves. And like, for example, Lynn and I, our future selves may be in a soul group that, where we've had all of our lifetimes with each other, let's say either incarnated together, helping from the other side. And that's why we feel so close. And that we might not have exactly the same soul group, like her and I, like you and I may have the same, all these lives together, but you might have other people that you've spent all your lifetimes with, and I might have different people. We might not have the other members in our soul group the same, but basically they're the actors and actresses in all our plays, and we are doing all these things in all these different realities. Sometimes we play the role of the major lesson giver, and sometimes we play the role of the really good one, and anything in between. And sometimes we may be like a super supportive person to one person, but somebody may have an issue where they take what you're doing wrong, not with your intention, or perhaps you just trigger something in them and they don't think you're a nice person for them, but that's where we need to realize that we're all kind of actors and actresses in each other's lives. We can't take it too personally. We just have to do the best we can, right?
So, well, pretty much something I had explained to a few friends is sometimes they're like, oh, well, why are you still, kind to somebody who wasn't kind to you, or you're still thoughtful of them, even if they were not, or let's say they did something wrong to me in this lifetime. And I truly believe this, that I could be, a villain in somebody else's story in another timeline. And in this life, they're playing that role for me. And I just have gratitude for that experience, because then I wouldn't know what I know.
Totally.
Right? And so we play all kinds of roles.
Definitely.
The good, the bad. And it's all a learning experience. And that is a part of the co-creation.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I feel the same way about it. I remember, most of the people that are in my life, maybe all of them have heard of my life. I always call it the Joseph life.
Yeah, I was in that one with you.
Yeah, we found out we were both not very nice men in that life in France in the 1700s. So, a lot of the people that I felt kind of wronged me in this lifetime were actually in that lifetime where I wasn't very nice to them. And it was almost like we were doing some sort of resolution. And not that they were purposely wronging me. Sometimes people are just being themselves, and, it's just...
That wasn't their intention.
Right.
Or maybe not even aware that...
Totally.
Yeah.
They're not aware they're doing it. But, we all do that with each other. So if you have a life with somebody, they might just get triggered because they have the soul memory of that, Joseph life. You were Pierre.
Yeah. Pierre. we were not good people in that lifetime.
You got to laugh about it now. But when you're in it, you're the first time I remembered it, I felt so much guilt. Oh my goodness. That was a long time ago, like 2000.
Yeah, I felt a lot of disgust with that lifetime of myself. Yeah. And
then of course we can carry that. So the goal is to let go of that shame and guilt that we've carried for all this time.
Yeah.
But, you know, if we go back to the advanced aspects, you know, these other more advanced lifetimes, so if those lifetimes, like the Pierre Joseph life is in dimensions 1 through 4, which are the lower realms,
ones, yep.
and we, you know, we're in the process as a collective moving into 5th dimension, which is the birth canal or the transformational phase of moving all those lifetimes into the light, all those lower realm aspects. And then when we get to 6, which is the goal, it's less polarized, and then, you know, we're not struggling with the same things. So, and that's where I believe anyway that we're in the process of getting to, yeah, I think there are people that are in it. We talked about it last time.
Yeah, moving into 6D.
Yes.
So I hear a lot of people, you and I and our community refers to as 6D. A lot of what's been out there is known as 5D. And in our experience, 5D is kind of the, I guess, the transitional stage. Like, it's not quite a dimension itself. It's just like you're still going through it to get to 6D.
Yeah, I mean, people can stay there for a long time, so I suppose you could think of it as a dimension, you know, but it's all about transforming the things that you haven't transformed yet. So, and of course, these are all templates.
Yeah.
So
there's no really right or wrong. They're templates, and we give names to them, and we give definitions to them.
Right. Well, yeah. I felt like there, you know, was some validity anyway. But with it, just, you know, I was looking at string theory with Brian Greene from Columbia University a number of years back, and I had the template of dimensions 1 through 11. The 5th dimension was that transformational dimension, and he talked about 11 strings, and the 5th string was a no time, no space string, which could be, in theory, some sort of transformational string.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, that fits loosely if you believe in string theory, and you know, everybody's theorizing because we can't really prove this stuff out really.
Yeah.
Main thing is making the changes, right?
Yeah, that's super interesting though, that your template with the string theory.
Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah, I mean, that's something to be said for, even if it's just a theory. Yeah.
Well, I think a lot of people get similar ideas. Maybe that template was out there and it came into my awareness because it was already out there and I just didn't know it. But, you know, we're all tapped into the same energy.
Yeah. Well, we're not as tapped in as you, though.
Well, I've been doing it for a while. It's been my whole life.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that you were able to develop that template. So.
Well, it was a good illustration. So it's kind of like, you know, if you look at your life and you see how, you know, a lot of people I think are moving into that birth canal, or they are in the birth canal and they're just moving out of 6. So if you kind of can think about how the heaviness that you've been carrying, you know, that you may have noticed that you've had a lot of issues. Well, we all do, right? But that you recognize, and all of a sudden you're ready to resolve them through, you know, whatever methods, you know, either through working with somebody, which I always think it's good for anybody to work with somebody, just even as a tune-up, but even recognizing on your own that maybe the storyline you have about yourself and your life isn't quite accurate, and that needs to change. I mean, I feel like I'm constantly updating my story about what reality is, because what is truth anyway?
Well, I think truth is all of our experiences, right? And it's what makes up our lives, and that's what's true to us. What's true to me might be not true for you because that wasn't your experience, but that's your truth.
I agree with that, Lynn. Yeah, so we have to keep letting go of our experiences, meaning that we don't want to identify with them so strongly. Yeah,
I found too that when I do let go of these certain experiences, that's when I have like huge breakthroughs and huge transformation and a deeper connection to myself. If I just let go of these experiences or these stories that I've been telling myself, and it just holds me back. So that's what I've noticed.
Oh, I totally agree with that. I think that we do need to do that. And you know, these advanced aspects, I mean, I've noticed that they've been coming in more. You could say these other realities that we are in as more advanced beings, let's say maybe more 8th to 9th or even 7th, which would be the highest. I think of it as the highest we can be as a human, that we are able to work with these, or these aspects are working with us, these 7th, 8th, 9th dimensional aspects, to help us move out of these old stories and come into something more advanced on how life can be. Like, these don't need to be making us who we are. They're just something to experience and for learning, and just to keep the learning, but not let go of hold on so tightly to what happened.
Yeah, I think the more people work on themselves, the easier it is for these advanced aspects to keep coming in. And I think a lot of people are working on themselves a lot more, which is probably why we're noticing that.
That's true.
And I feel like everybody on some level wants to create a better life here on planet Earth. So that kind of makes sense for these advanced aspects to come in to be able to create like the optimal timeline.
I totally agree with you. And so I think one thing that we really can start doing is to, number one, the more you ask for help, the more help you get. Start asking for help from these advanced aspects of self or other spirit guides that can help you, because they, in a sense, bring in a template on how to be different here, right? So, and I always think of God or source as being what makes up all of us. So we're all a part of that energy, the source energy, the God energy, and, which is something that, we're all made of. So, but these advanced aspects, again, they're templates. They can help remove things from our energy field that no longer serve us. They can bring things in and that kind of a thing. So the more we ask, the better off. So do you find yourself asking for help from them, or what do you do?
Oh, I ask for help every single day. I tune in every single day. To me, I try to explain it to people in terms of, imagine it like exercising, for example. Like, the more you exercise, the better you get at it, right? Or if you're trying to build muscle, well, you have to be lifting weights every day, every other day, whatever body parts you're working on to build the muscle there. It's the same thing when you're tuning in. So I get a lot of people who get discouraged and they'll be like, well, I don't see anything and I don't feel anything. It's really just a lot of practice and the intention and having the awareness. That's where it really starts with, and just trusting that when you are asking for help, even if you don't see it right in front of your eyes or you don't feel it right away, you just have to trust that they are there and they are available to help us.
No, I totally agree with that. Yeah, practice. So, and I feel like the more you tune in, the better it is. And then also knowing what your signs are. So some people will notice by just feeling, like they'll notice a strong energy coming in, even if they're not seeing anything. Some people don't see into the other dimensions because they are a different vibration, so they're not going to be shown in the same way as we, see like each other, other humans. But so some people see, some people feel, some people hear. They'll get messages. Some people are get a knowing. A lot of people get knowings, but they all work really well. Some people get a combination of them. So just understanding how it works for you. And what things mean for you, and that takes practice.
I don't think I hear very well. I think my sight and my knowing is a lot better in terms of how I tune in. And then I have friends who can hear things, and that's their gift and that's their skill. And for you, you see really, really well. And you get knowings too.
And I get some. I used to hear really well when I was, up until teenhood, or maybe it was till about 12 or 13, and I remember I became afraid of it at one point. And even though I know it was like a child's view of it, there's still a little part of me that's kind of like, do I really want to hear, So I still have, that's another thing I got to work on. If I want to hear it, I got to let go of whatever
that fear that was triggered during that time.
Yeah, because I remember the incident. I remember there was a lost soul that was saying things, and I thought it wasn't a very nice one, and what they said bothered me.
Oh yeah, well that still sounds scary even as a teenager.
Yeah. So, but I mean, if it would happen now, I'd be like, whatever, but it's kind of, sometimes you hold on to things that don't make sense to your current self, but they're still there. So yeah, I haven't really tried working on that much, but boy, maybe I should, right?
Yeah. Maybe we can do that later.
Yes, I think so.
I've had more clients recently who are just getting into energy healing and, that type of therapy for themselves. And these clients, a common thing I've noticed is they admitted to having the gift of hearing or seeing or knowing when they were younger, and as an adult now they're still working through this, and I believe in you guys that you work through it.
Yes.
If you're watching. But it's been really common where they're like, oh my gosh, I'm afraid, I don't want to see, I don't want to hear, I don't want any of that, right? And it's like, you're not going to have any of it if you don't want it. That's your free will. However, it's coming through on the other side of realizing like this is a gift, and it's your natural gift, and any of us can have access to it, and it's not so scary on this side. So
no, not at all. And it might even be, some of it might be unconscious fear, like mine with the hearing. I mean, I kind of have a sense of it, but in all the other gifts tend to work well for me, but that one I just haven't been in touch with. But or it could be something, it could be conscious or unconscious. So
yeah.
But I think over time you're going to at least have one gift that really stands out, and it starts becoming stronger and stronger as you use it. And so, don't give up on it. Just keep doing that, and keep inviting in these, spirit guides, which are the advanced beings, which I think that some of the ones they're talking about, like even on that congressional hearing, they could be some of these what we call spirit guides. They could. I mean, I don't know enough about it, but it could very well be, right?
Yeah. Well, just keep practicing tuning in. The guides, the beings, the advanced aspects of yourself, they're always there to help you and to help us. And just trust yourself and trust the process when you are in that state. So
yeah, I think that's a good place to end this on. So yeah, so thanks everyone.
Well, we'll see you all next week.
Sounds good. Bye.